Episode 4 of Gen V Season 2 wastes no time in grabbing us by the throat. From the very first scene, it feels like the ground beneath every character is about to crack open. This isn't just another episode, it's the one where secrets stop hiding, where masks slip, and where even the people we thought we could trust reveal just how dangerous they truly are. The energy is different this time. It's darker, sharper, and loaded with tension that makes every moment feel like a ticking time bomb. The episode opens with a jolt of unease that instantly tells us something has shifted. The atmosphere is heavy, almost suffocating, as though the walls themselves know a secret they shouldn't. The setting is quiet at first. Too quiet, and that silence forces us to pay attention to every detail. The nervous glances, the restless movements, the half-finished words. Nothing explosive happens right away, but the tension is baked into the room, making us lean closer, waiting for the break. What makes this opening so effective is how it builds pressure without showing its cards. The writers carefully use the smallest details, a flicker in someone's eyes, a pause too long before an answer, the faintest shift in tone to create unease. It's as though the characters themselves sense they are about to cross a line, but they can't stop it. The genius lies in the pacing. The camera doesn't rush, it lingers. The story doesn't shout, it whispers. And in that whisper, we realize that everything we knew before. Episode 4 is about to be rewritten. The emotional center of this first scene lies in how fragile trust has become. By now, alliances are hanging by threads, and the slightest tug can unravel them completely. We see characters watching each other not as friends or teammates but as potential threats. The air is loaded with suspicion, and it's heartbreaking because these were people who, just episodes ago, leaned on one another for survival. Now, the shared goal feels secondary to hidden motives. Every smile feels fake, every promise feels poisoned, and the weight of betrayal is already lurking in the shadows. But the brilliance of this opener isn't just in how it reveals mistrust, it's also in how it sets the stage for chaos to come. The scene plants subtle hints, little breadcrumbs that reward sharp-eyed viewers, a glance at an object on the table, a half-muttered line that seems unimportant at first, a choice of words that doesn't quite fit. All of these tiny moments work like puzzle pieces. And while we may not recognize the full picture yet, the show makes sure we feel the urgency. Something terrible is waiting just around the corner. And this scene is its warning shot. There's also a strong symbolic undercurrent here. The quiet opening mirrors the calm before a storm. The stillness isn't peace, it's the sound of the world holding its breath. It makes us wonder, is this silence meant to lull us into false security, or is it a cruel reminder that explosions don't always come with warning signs? Gen V thrives on this kind of layered storytelling, where a simple exchange between characters can hold the weight of an entire season's tension. By the time the first few minutes wrap up, the audience is fully locked in. The suspense has been stretched tight, and we know it's going to snap. The only question is when. This opening doesn't just introduce us to Episode 4, it warns us, nothing will stay the same. The lines between ally and enemy, between hero and monster, are already starting to blur. And with that, the stage is set for the rest of the chaos to unfold. What makes Episode 4 unforgettable is not just the shocking twists, but how it tears open the hearts of its characters. Everyone is pushed into situations where their choices matter more than ever, and the cracks in their armor are finally showing. It's less about flashy battles and more about inner wars, where loyalty, fear, and ambition collide. Each character we follow is at a crossroads, and watching them stumble or rise is both thrilling and heartbreaking. The most striking arc belongs to the one who has been trying hardest to hold everything together. In earlier episodes, they carried themselves as the glue of the group, the one voice of reason in a world of chaos. But here, the weight becomes unbearable. Episode 4 strips away their confidence, showing us a raw vulnerability that makes their every decision cut deeper. We see hesitation in their eyes, a doubt that wasn't there before, and the painful realization that they may not be strong enough to save anyone, not even themselves. It's a reminder that even the so-called leaders can crumble, and sometimes leadership means carrying scars no one else can see. On the other end of the spectrum, another character finally embraces the darkness that has been quietly tempting them since the beginning. Episode 4 doesn't make it sudden. Instead, it builds the fall piece by piece. Every choice they make in this episode feels like a step down a staircase that only leads to ruin. There's anger in them, but more than that, there's freedom, the kind of reckless power that comes when someone decides they don't care about consequences anymore. The transformation is terrifying, but it's also magnetic. We can't look away as they begin to shed the last pieces of their old self and step fully into the role of a threat. What's tragic is how justified it all feels. The show makes sure we understand why they break, even if we wish they didn't, single quotes. Meanwhile, the quieter members of the group, often left in the background, find their voices in subtle but powerful ways. Episode 4 gives them moments that might not seem huge on the surface, but they carry deep weight. A choice to step back instead of fight. A confession that slips out when no one expects it. A rare moment of bravery in the face of fear. These characters may not dominate the screen, but their arcs are the threads that hold the larger story together. They remind us that not every hero is loud, and not every villain is obvious. Sometimes the most important changes happen in silence. What's particularly fascinating is how Episode 4 refuses to paint anyone in simple black or white. Even the characters who make the worst choices don't feel purely evil, and those who try to do the right thing aren't purely good. It's messy, human, and painfully real. A friend becomes a stranger. A rival shows unexpected compassion. An enemy makes a choice that almost feels noble. These blurred lines create a constant unease, because we never know who to root for. The episode forces us to question whether good and bad even exist in this world, or if everyone is just trying to survive their own demons. The emotional punch of this section comes from how personal the stakes have become. It's no longer about abstract battles against big villains or faceless corporations, it's about the people standing side by side, realizing that they might be just as dangerous to each other as any outside enemy. The betrayals cut deeper because they come from familiar hands. The moments of trust feel fragile because they could shatter at any second. And as we watch, we feel the pain of knowing that not all of them will make it through this intact. By the end of the character-focused stretch in Episode 4, one thing is clear. Everyone has changed. Some are broken, some are hardened, and some are just starting to reveal their true selves. The beauty of this episode lies in how it doesn't treat these arcs as temporary drama. These are shifts that will echo through the rest of the season. We are watching friendships unravel, identities collapse, and monsters being born. And what's most chilling is how natural it all feels. Like these paths were always waiting, and all it took was a little push to send each character spiraling down their own road. Episode 4 doesn't just play with tension, it detonates it. Just when we think we've figured out who stands where, the floor gives way, and the truth comes crashing down like shattered glass. This episode is built on betrayal, but not the kind you can see coming. These are the betrayals that cut deepest because they come from the people closest to the center. The ones we thought we could trust. The ones who wore masks of loyalty until the exact moment they didn't need to anymore. The first major reveal hits like a sucker punch. The one character who has been quiet in the background, almost overlooked, finally shows their hand. Their silence wasn't fear, it was strategy. 4 episodes, they seemed harmless. A follower swept along in the chaos. But Episode 4 rips away that illusion, exposing a hidden agenda that instantly flips the story on its head. The reveal is subtle, a single choice that can't be undone, but it's enough to send shockwaves through the group. Trust collapses in real time, and suddenly, someone who was once part of the team feels like the most dangerous player in the room. The brilliance here lies in how the writers planted the seeds earlier. Tiny details we ignored now burn in hindsight, making us realize the betrayal was always waiting. And then comes the revelation that stretches beyond personal betrayal into something far bigger. The truth about what's happening behind the walls of Vought. Episode 4 peels back another layer of the corporation's carefully polished image, revealing something darker, colder, and more manipulative than we imagined. It's not just that Vought is corrupt, we already knew that, but that their reach is even deeper. Their control even tighter. Their secrets even deadlier. The show uses this moment to remind us that in the world of Gen V, villains aren't just individuals. They're systems, entire structures designed to chew up anyone who dares stand in the way. Watching this unfold is chilling because it feels less like fantasy and more like a reflection of the real world's obsession with power and control. But the most gut-wrenching twist doesn't come from Vought at all. It comes from within the circle of characters we've been rooting for. Midway through the episode, a revelation about one of them drops like a thunderclap, and it changes everything we thought we knew. Their motives, their loyalty, even their identity, are pulled into question. It's not just a shocking reveal, it's a betrayal that hits the emotional core of the show. The heartbreak here is real because it doesn't feel like a twist for shock value. It feels like the natural breaking point of a character torn apart by secrets and lies. We feel the weight of their decision, the sorrow in their choice, and the devastation it leaves behind for the people around them. The power of these twists isn't only in their surprise, it's in how they force every other character to react. Suddenly, Alliances that seemed firm dissolve into suspicion. Every glance becomes a question mark. Who's telling the truth? Who's hiding something bigger? Episode 4 thrives on this atmosphere of paranoia, where no bond is safe, and no promise is unbreakable. The viewers are left just as unsettled as the characters, questioning every action, every word, every silence, and then, just when we think the episode can't possibly escalate further, the cliffhanger arrives. It's not loud or chaotic, it's quiet, almost cruelly calm. A revelation whispered at the edge of the screen. A moment so subtle it takes a second to process, and then the full weight crashes down. The cliffhanger doesn't just leave us curious, it leaves us rattled. It promises that everything we've seen so far was just the warm-up, and the real storm is still on its way. The genius of this ending is how it doesn't answer the questions we have, it multiplies them, leaving us desperate for the next chapter. Episode 4's shocking twists aren't just plot devices, they're emotional earthquakes. They don't just change the direction of the story, they change how we feel about the people inside it. Characters we trusted now feel dangerous. Characters we feared now seem strangely sympathetic. And the world of Gen V feels more fragile than ever, like it could collapse at any moment under the weight of its own secrets. By the end of this section of the episode, one truth becomes painfully clear. In Gen V, survival isn't about strength or even loyalty, it's about knowing when to question everything, including the people standing right beside you. What makes episode 4 stand out isn't only the betrayals or the shocking twists, it's the deeper meaning hidden underneath every choice, every look, and every silence. This is the episode where the mask of superhero fantasy finally rips away, revealing the darker truths about power, control, and identity. Themes that have always lingered in the shadows of Gen V rise to the surface here, demanding to be confronted. And the way the show weaves them into the story gives this episode a weight that lasts far beyond its runtime. At its core, the episode wrestles with the theme of power and corruption. This isn't just about physical strength or flashy abilities, it's about how power twists people, how it tempts them, and how it destroys everything in its path. We see characters who once dreamed of being heroes now staring at themselves in the mirror, wondering if they're becoming monsters. Episode 4 pushes this theme relentlessly, showing us that in this world, power isn't a gift, it's a curse, and it carries a price that no one can truly afford. The more someone tries to hold on to it, the more it consumes them. This is symbolized brilliantly in the subtle shifts of behavior, the way eyes linger too long on control, the way voices tremble when promises are made, the way desperation grows louder than reason. Another key theme is trust and betrayal. The episode makes it painfully clear that trust is fragile, almost impossible to sustain in a world built on secrets. Every betrayal in this episode isn't just about one person turning against another, it's a reflection of a bigger idea. That in systems controlled by lies and manipulation, betrayal is inevitable. Trust is a currency, and like all currency, it eventually runs out. The symbolism here is striking. Objects in the background, broken glass, a door that won't fully close, a shadow lingering where it shouldn't, all act as reminders that nothing in this world is whole, and no relationship is fully safe. Then there's the theme of identity, which resonates deeply in this episode. Characters are forced to question who they really are when the roles they've been playing begin to collapse. Are they heroes, villains, survivors, puppets? Episode 4 doesn't give easy answers. Instead, it shows us the painful truth. Identity is not something these characters control. It's shaped by the lies they've been told, the experiments they've been subjected to, and the trauma they've carried since day one. The way some characters embrace new identities while others cling desperately to old ones highlights the struggle of finding a sense of self in a world that's determined to define you. A symbolic thread that runs through this episode is the idea of silence and noise. The quiet opening scene mirrors the inner silence of characters who feel powerless, while the sudden bursts of violence and revelation later in the episode symbolize the chaos they cannot contain. Silence becomes a tool of manipulation, secrets whispered instead of spoken aloud, truths buried under layers of quiet denial. Noise, on the other hand, becomes an eruption of truth, a force that can't be hidden anymore. The constant shift between silence and noise mirrors the conflict between what is hidden and what is revealed, between masks and reality. There's also a haunting undercurrent of control versus freedom. Vought's shadow looms large in this episode, reminding us that the characters aren't just fighting each other, they're fighting against an invisible hand that shapes every move they make. The symbolism here is chilling: doors that lock on their own, documents that vanish before they can be read, cameras watching from corners we barely notice. These images remind us that freedom in this world is an illusion, and the characters' struggle is not just for survival, but for the right to control their own lives. One of the most powerful symbolic moments comes in the imagery of light and darkness. Episode 4 plays with shadows in a way that feels intentional. Characters half lit, half hidden, as though they're caught between two worlds. Light doesn't always mean safety though. Often, it exposes the things we'd rather keep hidden. Darkness, meanwhile, becomes both a danger and a comfort. A place where secrets can survive, but where monsters can also thrive. This balance between light and shadow mirrors the blurred morality of the show itself. No one is fully good, no one fully evil. Everyone is caught somewhere in between. By the end of the episode, these themes and symbols come together to form a larger truth. Gen V isn't just about young soups trying to find their place. It's about the cost of chasing power, the impossibility of trust, and the painful fight for identity in a world that wants to strip it away. Episode 4 reminds us that beneath the explosions and betrayals lies something more disturbing. The idea that maybe the real villains aren't the ones with powers at all, but the systems that create them, exploit them, and destroy them. And in that realization, the show holds up a mirror, asking us to think about our own world, our own systems, and the masks we all wear.